and welcome to CEOs Get Real, Exemplary Women Edition. I'm your host, Christopher Marston, and today we have Sita Thompson of Sita Couture. Welcome to the show, Sita.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy you came out here.
Me too. It was wonderful to see you.
Exactly. Well, can we toast because you're awesome? Nobody knows yet. They're going to know very shortly.
Thank you.
So today we got a 1997 Cabernet from Rombauer that I've been aging since I was too young to drink it.
You are amazing with your wines. This is really nice.
Well, I don't drink alone, so I have to have guests frequently. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Sita, we've known each other a long time, many, many years now. We've done it all. We've done some business. We played volleyball together. You're actually quite good, and it's a lot of fun.
You were one of my teachers, actually. You taught me
really
so much. Yeah.
See the things you have to go on a show to learn. That's crazy.
I got better after you. I mean, I went
right?
back to Venice, and everybody was like, "Whoa, what happened?" You came and played in Venice.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed that. That was fun.
You actually, you bumped up my game exponentially.
See, CEOs have fun too.
Yes.
Well, Sita, you run an eco-fashion company. It's kind of how I paint it. Is that the right way to put it?
Yes.
And you've got just amazing women's clothing. So how would you describe the brand?
Well, it's a lifestyle brand targeting the spa resort demographic. We make clothes to live in. We manufacture everything in Los Angeles, and it's very feminine casual.
Yeah.
But you can wear it everywhere. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. Very subtle luxury.
Yeah, and by the way, my wife wears it. I love her more when she's wearing it because it does.
That's what I hear.
But it's totally balances. Like it could go both ways. Like it's got the touch of class, but it's
really we honor the body.
Yeah.
And the women love that, and the men love that, because I think men are kind of sick of their wives or their girlfriends hiding their bodies, and I make them feel comfortable in their bodies.
Oh, interesting. You mean like makeup and like clothing that hides their bodies?
No, I don't. It's not that hides their bodies, that honors their bodies.
No, but other people, like the men were sick of.
Oh yeah, there's so many things that hide the body. What are you talking about? And then there's stuff that doesn't shape right, and it's just like they're too tight, and they're trying to be like sexy, and it doesn't work. So it takes a lot of like.
It's like comedy that tries too hard. It's just not funny.
Like that. It's just like
80% of SNL these days. Got it.
So I spent a lot of time. I danced all my life, and so I needed things where I could go from like a rehearsal to the stage to a media thing, and it needed to look good 360. So I bring that ethos into my line.
What kind of dancing?
I did jazz and ballet and modern all my like little years, and then I got into classical Indian dance when I lived in India.
Wow.
So I got to master that pretty quickly, having a classical background. So it was really cool.
So tell me about this cultural thing. Like you got the cultural background.
Well, my dad's Mexican American Indian. My name is Sita from India. She is God's wife in the Hindu religion. Okay. But my name is from India. My sister is Shanti. So the kids in my family have Mexican Indian names, Native American names, or East Indian. My parents were really into names that had purpose, Wow. So Sita being God's wife in the Hindu religion, that kind of, when I went over to India to work in dance and television and film, they really loved that. And the last name was Thompson. So it was like, okay, either love you or stone you, because of British colonization.
Could go either way, right?
Well, we took the love. We took the love.
Long story.
Yeah.
So when did you live in India? You said.
So I got back here about 9 years ago. So I was there for the previous 6 years from that. So I was there for 6 years. It was
where?
In Bombay.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's that like?
It's interesting. It's my dad says that third world countries are really the only place where the heart truly is, and I loved it. I loved the people. I love the culture. It's challenging. It's like a yoga class going from one end of the town to the next. Yoga isn't a thing that you do in a class in India. It's a way of life, because you have to drop it down and you have to be so chill because there's so much going on. It's so chaotic. But if you can find the peace in India, you can definitely start your own company.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you got here, so I met you maybe 6 years ago, And you said 9 years ago is when you got back. So it must have been not too long after you started your business.
That's right.
Yeah, but you had a living room full of clothing and interns and like an operation.
I got back here with one purpose, and that's what nobody understands. Like, I had a pretty cool life in India, and I came back here only to start my company. So it wasn't like I was like, I came here with, okay, I'm going to sell. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew that was my intention. So everything I did reflected that.
So you set intention. Yeah. Did you set an intention or did you get a download? Like, was it inspiration? What was it?
Well, I got to say that I was always interested in fashion. I'd been doing potpourri pillows at the farmer's market since I was like 9, 10, 11, 12, handmade, dried out all my flowers. My stepmom, Nikki, shout out to her. She taught me a lot about sewing them. My mom taught me how to sew. My grandma was a seamstress. So I always had that in me. My dad's an organic farmer, did not care anything about pretty. So if I wanted pretty, I had to learn how to make it. So that's kind of how it started. And then we had au pairs. Is
that because like organic tomatoes are like never perfect?
Yeah.
They're always a little...
No, he had his boots, his jeans, his hat, and his flannel.
Right.
He didn't understand why I was crying in front of the fashion store. But I'm not going to spend $200 on this, but I'll buy you a machine. So that was a functionality part. And then we had au pairs from Europe. And I got to meet a designer and she would bring us stuff. And that's when I learned what it meant when somebody creates something for you. That's designer. So it started probably when I was really, really young. Yeah.
So you were around it growing up. That's amazing.
A brand is a story. So like I would have wanted to have a brand when I was 16 or something, but it wasn't till later that I realized.
But was it because how much of your dad's influence, did your dad have an influence when you were young and he told you to make it? If you want to create it, just make it.
Oh my God.
Right?
What?
Right? Okay.
I was like so mad. And then I don't understand why you're mad. I'm buying you a sewing machine.
Right. I was like,
it was terrible.
I bought you a factory. You wanted a thing. I bought you a factory.
It was
cheer up.
It was not coming from a very non-conventional upbringing. So now I'm so thankful. We laugh about it.
What's non-conventional?
Just him being an organic farmer, all the babies born at home, a teepee, all of our names mean, something. And so very, everything with purpose and meaning behind every layer of everything that you do. And so you're cool with that maybe on the inner circle, but when you go out into like the mainstream, you feel a little bit odd until you realize how amazing it is. Cause that's not the way the rest of the world really is.
Oh, great! But that's a blessing, isn't it?
Oh my God, like I said, we are like so cool now, but you don't necessarily feel that way when you're little. When you want Wonder Bread and American cheese or whatever, and you're getting sprouts and olives or garlic and olive oil blended together on top of sprouted pesto. You know what I'm saying? It was just totally carrot juice,
But where was this?
Valley Center, pretty much inner city, like mountains of San Diego, farmland in there. And then my dad's farms down in Mexico a lot. So I would say I was very much a Southern California girl all my life.
Okay. Yeah. But growing up, you're saying other kids around you were getting Wonder Bread and American cheese.
Oh yeah, I mean everywhere. In regular schools, we weren't allowed to have like school lunch. They would pack the stuff.
Right.
Okay. It's very mainstream now, but when you're, 35 years ago, you were just like, what the heck is this?
So did it make you feel less intimidated when you came back and felt the intention when you were back from India to start a business that you could make it?
Well, that whole thing with my dad and my upbringing, I got over that in my 20s. I'm like, this is amazing. I am so blessed. Like I have.
You mean you saw the blessings?
I saw the blessings. My stepmom's a colon therapist. My dad's one of the head like organic farmers in the world, like one of the forefathers. So blessed. Like I am so like bowed down, and I give everything to them for pushing me the way they did when I was little. So I knew pretty much being raised like that, anything I wanted to do, I could do.
Okay, so tell me about being pushed. You said pushed. So tell me about your mom's side of pushed. I get your dad's.
Yeah, my mom, so my dad in Native American culture, he's a Black Panther. Okay. Tall, long black hair and a Navajo bun. My mom is a deer, little petite, blue, little thing. But my mom, fierce. Like she made us all of it. Me and my sister Shanti and Adam, we're the three ones, the oldest kids from my dad. And We learned how to work straight from the get-go. We always knew how to take care of ourselves. My mom was not ever going to, it's just we knew how to take care of ourselves. So I've been working since I was 15.
It's not a typical California girl.
No, not at all. And I didn't have to roll it out that way. I could have done so many other things, but that's what I knew. I knew how to take care of myself and also take care of other people with that power.
So where did you get the inspiration for this Sita Couture style? Because it's a distinctive style. And it's such a crowded space, right? And like my guy, I go to the store and like most guys are pretty indifferent because it's all like the same crap of a slightly different shade.
I would say it's just pure. I started designing for me, like I said, in India. Going from rehearsal to a stage to a media thing to a dinner. And Bombay, everything is so just congested. I needed to have pieces that I could go from everything and look good, be camera ready, And so I started developing a lot of my bodies when I had my career, my very much on camera career. And I came over and I was I was ready. I was so into what I started constructing. So that became my new passion, was constructing these pieces. But it started there, I would say. And being in India, the sari, 5 meters of magic made for the woman. I was obsessed with the sari. So my first collection was Indian princess meets classic America. And they were gowns made from the sari, but in American bodies. So they were stunning. And so I was obsessed with the beauty that you could make somebody feel that I could feel, and I could do it for other people. It made me feel so good. So it went from the formal stuff as I started living here in America again. I realized that you're not going to wear those to the mall. I wanted to be able to wear my line everywhere all the time. So I started constructing things that I would want to wear everywhere all the time.
So were you making the patterns?
Yeah.
Okay. So
some of the patterns are even from my grandma. So some of my classic bodies, because my grandma sewed.
You have a picture of your grandmother in your house, don't you?
Oh, good memory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was Miss El Paso, then went on to be Miss Texas, and then she was a beauty queen, a Southern Texan.
Well, she has a special place in your heart, doesn't she?
She does. She was amazing. All of us needed to know how to sew. Living through the Great Depression and all of that, like you had to know how to do your nails. You had to know how to make something from a curtain. There is no prisoners here. We are not victims. You are always going to show up as your best self, regardless of your situation. My grandpa went to war and she had to raise like all 7 kids practically by herself.
Wow.
And did it all with the most eloquent beauty.
Oh, hands down, hats off, all of that good stuff.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. What a great story.
It's definitely got a lot of color.
Got a lot of layers. So you came and you made patterns, and it's just, I write songs too, so most people don't know because I'm, I'm a CEO by day, songwriter by night.
A phenomenal songwriter.
Praiser. Oh, have you heard?
Yes, I've heard you sing. You've sung for me so many times.
I had
at my house, at the parties here.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
I think even on the phone once. Teacher, what do you think about this? I'm like, it's amazing. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So like when you think about it, you write, if you're writing from the heart or you're making something from the heart, it starts with like feeling that like you want to share something, but you need to tap into something that's real for you, knowing that that's going to be real for a certain number of people out there.
Yeah.
Was that part of it?
It was really, I think because of my globalization, meaning being this American girl, I modeled and acted, and I was here just really saturated in like all things feminine, and then dance, and then all my stepmoms, my dad, all the babies were born at home. I feel like I've been saturated in just women in so many ways. I feel like I understand different cultures of women. So I feel like when I feel something, even when I'm like one of the fit bodies from my line, because I'm a 6, I have the boobs, the waist, the butt, and it's like if it works on me, it works on everybody. All my favorite pieces in the collection are things that just sell all day. So I think being able to have been on camera all of those years, being able to have been a fit model, knowing the dimensions that make women feel good, it could be like, oh wow, how lucky are we to be a company and also be able to be the one who can.
So how did you get, you came with insights from being a fit model. So for those who don't know the industry, what does that mean?
That means that designers in the fashion mart, they have you come in and you're a model and they need to see how it fits on you, because if you're a fit model, like a 6 is a really good size for being a fit
So they're
model.
looking for certain types
Dimensions.
that are representative of a bigger sample size, so
Exactly.
they can model their clothes.
Yeah. Well, it's actually there's it's so if there's somebody in my line, or even how when I was fit modeling, the objective is whether they're full busted or smaller, whether they're a fuller body or a smaller body, that it still looks good. And that all has to do with the cut. So yes, to fit a broad range of people with one style is the objective. And you do need to fit
because the
model
production costs are ridiculous if you have to.
if you just got to make everything for, and there are certain brands that are just for tall, or there's petite or whatever.
Sure.
But even inside of that, you want to be able to talk to a range of the people in each one of those sectors. So having been a fit model, having that dimension, like you see everything on our little model just now, those pieces are the same pieces I wear, and she's like 4 inches shorter with a whole different body type than me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, so that's what designer is.
Was that the photo shoot we had earlier?
We just did with your model. And that's what that means.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So there's a lot of thought behind it.
Yeah. So, but did you know, you must have known the apparel industry is insanely difficult. And then to manufacture here in LA. So like, there was a moment of like, are you insane?
Oh
like,
my gosh. You are not the only one that asked me that. I must be. Actually, I probably just don't know anything other than what I really want to do.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
but why here? Like you had other choices. You're still manufactured in LA.
I tried in the beginning. I thought I was being true to my Indians, and I tried to manufacture in India, but my minimums were, they were too low. So my stuff was coming with beads falling off, smelling like dirt. I'm like, or smelling like gas, looking like dirt. I'm like, whoa, this is not happening. So I basically learned manufacturing here. So I established relationships. I joined associations. I met a lot of the heads at different fashion schools. They loved my look. They loved, my line. And so I connected with the students because I was like one myself. I'm like, go ahead, you guys, come on over. Let's do this together. And, the teachers of the school did not mind at all. I'm like, you guys, I'm not in a hugely established company, but and they're like, we love your attitude, and that's the thing when I was totally intentional. I was coming back only to do this. So I wasn't like messing around. Like, okay, we're doing this show. We're doing that, had them directed.
Okay. And so you managed to like pull it together. In the early years when I met you, you were trying to figure out the model and like. Yeah.
I mean, so I was trying to figure out, like you have people that this should be everywhere, and Nordstrom's and Macy's and this and that. And, you think you see all these money signs and, oh yeah. And then people like you, incredible advice, Scott, you guys said, once you start bringing in investors, it's no longer you. You're answering to somebody else. I don't know if that's your personality, unless that investor is somebody who's just like you, or like something that's very. So there was that. I went through that because I really thought I needed to go raise all this money.
Right.
And
that's what the traditional path.
That's the tradition.
And you've resisted the traditional path.
I'm just so not traditional.
Yeah, but you also, you
tried.
You listened along the way.
You guys gave me great advice.
Well, and a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people would say, just go the traditional way and raise money, right? And
well, I had a lot of people actually, if you remember some of those contracts that I had gotten thrown by.
They were bad.
They were, and you saw some, Scott, they're like, no, I'm sorry, you can't. And I was like so excited. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? They want to give me like $1 million or $500,000. No, actually, you got to look here. I'm like, oh my God. So when you get a couple of those contracts and people that you thought that you trusted, you're like, wow, can you imagine if I would have signed that? Like, wow. Like, wow. And everybody knows what a divorce feels like,
Yeah. Well, the neat part is there's a bit of longevity, like the years have gone on, and the hardest parts were the first, 2-3 years.
Oh, yeah.
And here you are, and you've not only resisted the traditional path, you've stayed, you haven't got investors, you just toughed it out. From like, there's something from like, what shaped you that allowed you, like, was it your childhood? Or like, what was it that got you just believing to stick with it? Because I know you worked your butt off. You're insane. Like, you were insane hours.
I would say, I think it's when you start to realize that you don't have to be what other people think that you should be because you're an apparel line. You don't have to be in all of these big doors. You don't have to, you can actually do whatever you want. And and the biggest thing was not to judge myself and be like, I love their advice. Wait a minute, what's wrong with being a little bit more small? I ended up going into spa and resort, which happens to be the hardest place to get involved with. Spa is the most,
it's very
shishi. And it ends up that they are actual hardcore healers. And they are people that lead the way and sustainable mindset when it comes to new ways to heal. And I got to actually now be in and we're talking the Ritz, we're talking the Four Seasons, Destination Lowe's. I let go of judging that it had to be in a certain way. And I allowed, that would be amazing. And I started getting invites to these shows. And before you knew it, I was like the leading spa resort brand. And that's why every time you call me, I'm like in Jamaica, I'm in the Caribbean.
You were, you were living it up.
And it was that, I think, letting go of that I was just talking to somebody about it today, that judgment, because people think that you should be something like in a certain way.
Sita, what you got to tell me, what made you listen to your inner voice instead of the other voices?
Well, all these contracts you kept telling me, you just can't sign those. It's just not happening.
What do you mean? Eventually it sunk in?
Literally Scott saved me from one that I had spent the whole weekend with this marketing firm. And he's like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to tell him to leave. Like this is, I was like, what? And this was way before.
So funny. I tell clients that there's a point at which you'll have Marston in your head. And you don't need a pocket one, and you'll have it in your head because you'll start to think a certain way.
It was definitely great counsel, and it was really amazing how you bigwigs, big people that I really respected, had so much respect for what I was doing. I loved it every time you would come over and we would have our meetings and stuff. You're so things meetings.
Oh, my best part was when my wife got to go on a shopping spree.
That was really fun.
Because it was a lot of fun.
I mean, and that's what it was about. Moments like that, and what actually got me more into the art of what I was doing was a really big part of what made me go like, I am enough here. Yeah. And that is really a huge thing. And I don't know when it really happened. Probably when, like you've suffered enough, thinking it has to be something else. So I think that would be a major part.
But people give up. I remember it wasn't always easy.
No.
And people give up, or they compromise, or you stuck with your guns on believing a certain distribution path was the right way to go. And that you didn't have to define yourself on other people's terms, or even in traditional terms, even if nobody was whispering in your ear about getting in this store, that had to come from somewhere.
Okay. I am definitely really blessed, connected with spirit in many ways. I am protected. I always try to do right by people. And I feel like that has gained me so much protection, because I have walked down some places. I mean, some of the contracts that could have just totally wiped me out, many different things that were just completely unruly. And I have to say that I'm just there. God, it's so funny. I guess I'm lucky. I never thought of myself as lucky. For the first time, I'm actually thinking there's some incredible luck. So there's not just one thing. There's never just one thing. It's an actual multitude of things that has a lot to do with people, Chris. I mean, honestly, I am so blessed to have people like you, like Scott. You two are been the main guys in my advisors. Just knowing I had you guys there gave me so much confidence. When you have that confidence, you can kind of walk through anything. Confidence is amazing.
You come off, but you hold yourself in a way, just knowing you, and it's really interesting because there were role models that came before the people that were there, and
that would be my dad. That would be my upbringing. My mom. Yeah, I mean, I have amazing parents who were total free thinkers. Both my mom and dad are just always allowed, and they taught me non-judgment, where it was. You could feel things, but it wasn't my way.
I knew it was, there were times when it was frenetic, it was crazy, and it was hard, and cash flow. It's a peril. It's a peril. There's always going to be those times in this business. Yeah. And people are going to mess up a batch and the sewing's not right. And like you said, beads fall out. Because I remember those discussions, and it's the same with so many people in this industry. But I never saw you get down about yourself or lose your path. You never lost your way.
I just, I think that's something that's called commitment.
Yeah.
It's when you're committed.
I call it conviction.
Conviction.
Yeah.
It's conviction.
It's conviction.
I got so much joy from it also. So there's going to be bumps. It's like raising a child. There's going to be bumps. But since the beginning, when I first, Scott, I was with him on a show, and he's like, the thing that you told me years ago, Sita, was when I asked you why you did this, and you said, it's just an avenue to make people feel good, because I truly love to connect with people. Yeah. So it could be wellness, but fashion, it just happens to be something that I could do. Yeah. But my magic is connecting with people. So that's what kept me. So it wasn't the actual company. It was the magic that fueled me. Yeah.
It's really interesting because in some ways, Exemplar has been that for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not the tool.
It is totally that. Yeah.
Yeah. Law is a tool, banking, investment banking, capital, strategy, tax. Those are tools. But like what the tools enable you to do is love people.
That's right.
And care and help.
Yeah.
And there's just like nothing better. There's no better reason to wake up every day than do that. Exactly. And so it's really interesting that's like a common thing.
That is exactly why people love you and why you have got to create this and have so many people that want to be on and around because you're doing that. And I think that's really magical to highlight. And anybody wanting to start something, I always tell them like find that love, because that will hold you through. Yeah.
Well, it seems like you've been lucky to have other people around you, and you've had a North Star along the way to figure out, many of them, not just one, to compare the right path and the wrong path. Because you've chosen right. Yeah. But there's been several people around you, and several of the wrong ones and also a few of the right ones. And, but not everybody makes the right decisions. And not everybody takes advice. So you've been great about that. And it's one of the things I admire about you as a leader. And I didn't know until this moment, actually, that some of those moments, how they tracked with you over the years, which is fascinating.
Thank you.
So that's special.
That's an honor. I feel very... it's so funny. I was doing this muscle kinesiology testing, and my mentor says, test these things, and you do this, and you go, and it's one of them is a belief, I am lucky, and it opened, and mine opened, and it was no, but I've said I am lucky here, so maybe I get to tell her, Emily, oh my God, I am lucky, because I mean that is it. When opportunity meets the focus and the intention, that's what the luck is. So I guess
So I've seen you in your environment. I've seen you in your leadership roles, and I find you to be a feminine leader, like someone that leads in her feminine power. I could be wrong; it's just me, but I think I haven't seen you have to leave your feminine power to lead in a masculine power kind of way, and that's very unique.
I actually, one of the things that when I started my business, I totally did not want to turn into some like man. And so I actually had...
So you were conscious about it.
I was very conscious, knowing that I want to actually become more feminine in my practice, because I truly believe that leadership is very feminine. There's a feminine way to do it, and there's masculine, because there is a masculine element that comes out, especially when I'm out there. ¿Qué pasó, Mario? ¿Dónde están los pantalones, compadre? But even when I do that, like when I get mad or something at my workers, but I think it also has to do with the nature of the person as well. Yeah. I told you my grandma being a beauty queen, my mom is very feminine. I can't wait for you to meet her. She's like a flower.
But she's a flower.
She's beautiful.
I thought you were going to say she looks like a flower and she acts like a firecracker.
Oh, that could be that too. She's definitely a firecracker, but she's really, really feminine.
So there's a tendency. I think there's a societal tendency to feel like that's not power. Don't you think? To misconstrue beauty and delicate or being womanly as not being in power, and I think that's a misconception.
I think that a lot is shifting around that right now, and I truly believe that. I think a lot in alignment with this. My dad was really, really into powerful women. He used to tell me, like, he would say...
So he was a secure man.
Oh, yeah. He goes, I want you to vision the kind of body you want. Like, he would open up this Olympic runner, Gail Okonovia, the most beautiful legs to ever stride the earth. He goes, look at that. He goes, this is amazing. And he was this beautiful Olympian running, just this power, He got me very into... my mom was an example of that, you know, being a labor and delivery nurse, raising her 3 kids. She had 3 kids by the time she was 21. She was just amazing and just I mean, I literally feel like both of them had so much to do with this part of me because they were of more of an alternative, different, they were totally off the beaten path. So they raised us like that. So having those values integrated into my soul was definitely a base root. My dad, having a dad who really believes in feminine strength is great. He used to sit me down. Okay, so what languages do you want to learn? How are we going to make this happen? We don't have the money to get you over there, but how are we going to work it? We're going to work backwards. We're going to go paint the school to get the tuition, and you're going to teach dance. And okay, this is entrepreneurship. Okay, my stepmom Nikki at the farmers market, you know, teaching me how to do things really, really young, never serving me, integrating me into the world. So I could be I was super independent at like 9. I wanted to move out at 12. I'm like, there's my apartment. I can do this. And so, you know, when you ask me that, it's almost like I don't know anything else. I know how people are projected upon, but I've never actually felt that way in so many ways. You know, I've been, I've never felt like people looked at me because I'm feminine and pretty and like looked down on me. I thought that they always gave me a great platform. And I feel like if you feel that inside of yourself, you're going to command that around you. I think that people get suppressed based on what other people have been raised to believe. But if you show up differently, then you are the only one in that moment that makes any difference at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It has to be, everything has to be about you.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like your dad had as much of a role as your mother, and you know, and even your grandmother.
Yeah.
In shaping just the centered you.
That's why I'm always like, you guys, what you do with your kids, every moment is so important. And I'm telling Scott, my boyfriend is Scott, he's got 2 daughters. You integrate them and you show them their you know, we're having these parenting things because I've helped raise like all of my brothers and sisters.
I have 2 daughters and daddy's
I'll be
girls.
right over there telling you like, hey,
you
know what, they need to be a part. You need to show them their value. And that's that part of woman when a little girl is just doted on and she comes out, oh my God, I don't know what to do, because they've never had to do anything on their own. And that's actually a curse. Yeah. So that's how those girls turn out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's in the name? There's always something in the name.
Well, Forbes Riley, I did a Instapreneur workshop with her and she's like, you got to lead with that because Sita is God's wife in the Hindu religion. And yes, I am committed to bringing out the goddess in you.
Oh, check that out. I didn't even plant that question.
Oh, you did
not. You can't make that stuff up.
No, she was like, and so she's the goddess of virtue and womanhood. And when I lived in India, it was so funny because I was so oblivious to the fact that they don't like it when you have an Indian goddess's name, especially if you're foreign. And I was oblivious to it. So I didn't get to take any of that negativity. And they were like, everything that I did, mastering classical Indian dance and designing and all of this stuff, they actually loved it. And they told me that I was the modern day Sita. Because Sita in the real mythology is that she gets abducted by Ravanan and she's just, it's this damsel in distress. She's a powerful woman, but it's a very sad story. So they said that Sita, I'm supposed to come and I'm actually supposed to be another version of the entity of Sita, which is a very strong, beautiful feminine woman that actually leads in the feminine energy. So
no kidding.
It's really interesting. Baba Ram Das named me.
Wow.
Who just passed away. I was at his funeral in Maui.
No kidding.
Be Here Now, Dancing with Shiva. Such an honor to be named by this person. And it was, I didn't get to see him before he left, but I got to go to his funeral. And it's like, you pretty much shaped my life by giving me that name. I was awarded by the Prime Minister under Cultural Development for being American by birth, the Indian by heart and values, and a role model for society. That's how much they were cool with me having the name Sita.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I got that award, that got me motivated to come back here. I'm like, I got a whole country behind me. I can do this.
I love that. But you actually won some awards recently, right?
I did. I cannot believe it. Gosh, Emily, I am lucky. I can't believe I did that thing and I thought I wasn't lucky. We just won Rising Brand of the Year by the Los Angeles Business Journal. I know.
It's been a long time coming, but that's amazing.
Yeah, can you believe that? I was just like, what?
Well, all those you were doing, come on. I remember the runway shows.
Oh, I mean, hello. I was doing, that was in 2017. We opened up for Style. I am lucky. They gave us like a $30,000 runway show for nothing
Right.
because I had ethnic blood and they wanted me to produce a show. And yeah, so that was major. And no, I'm very active in the community. Let's
Yeah.
get real. Like I
Oh,
dress.
I know you know everybody, and like we know like somebody. It's
Yeah.
really amazing how that is.
Everything cross pollinates, and the California Fashion Association, Ilsa Metchuk, one of my fashion mentors, she's the one who nominated me, and we ended up winning. And
Well, let me ask you this. I know you're not an extrovert like me. So where do you get your energy from to do that?
just to be an extrovert does not mean you don't have energy, because I am abundant in energy.
No, I always observe you to be abundant in energy, but I just don't. But I also happen to know you're not an extrovert. So
I meditate. I'm
Okay.
a religious meditator every day in the morning. So I've been doing Vedic for like 5 or 6 years, which is giving me so much core center. And I'm hardcore ocean swimmer, as you know, and I do all sorts of yoga, and I love running, and I do hit 3 times a week with my International United Sister Society. Shout out to Robin. And Kundalini. We do Kundalini every week too. So I just, everything, I'm always stoking my inner fire.
Okay.
Always.
That's how you do it.
I do that. That's exactly right. And just love every moment, like with myself, doing that. And so I'm consciously just replenishing, because I do put out so much, and then I just
you have to replenish internally.
I use all the best like bath salts, Tara oils in my bath every single night, giving me all the minerals. Got some good products from you right now.
That's right.
And Spa Ritual. Like I use the best products. And that's one thing that I've been doing a lot lately, is pairing up with a bunch of my brand buddies to share some of the magic that I truly feel makes me that abundant with my life, you know?
Oh, that's great.
And my food.
Yeah. And the food, of course,
food,
what you
the
put in
best
your body.
wine. Yeah.
You get the best wine tonight. You're
best wine.
23 years of age.
That's it.
It's good, Kevin. You won't wake up with a headache tomorrow. I promise.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Good.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing this.
I am too.
So what are the hardest, did you ever feel like being a woman entrepreneur was like harder?
I don't think I've ever been anything but a woman entrepreneur. Even
I'm pretty sure you haven't. But
no, I think I worked as a waitress in college, and then right after college, I was a fit model, a Reebok hip hop dancer. I was, and then I moved to India, and I had my dance troupe. And then I was doing like Bollywood and, commercials and stuff over there, getting paid to, fly everywhere for poster sign. I mean, I don't know anything else.
So you don't know anything else. Does that mean that you don't feel that, it sounds to me like you don't feel any hardships that you've had are related to gender whatsoever, particularly.
No, I don't think so.
Right?
What?
You're responding like it almost didn't occur to you that it would so you're not a victim.
No, I mean, I don't know anything else. It's not that it's not a reality for certain people that had a different, I don't judge that. I totally sympathize with it. And I work with many people, in order to help shift mindsets, because everything is a mindset.
Sure is.
Everything is. Mm-hmm. And if you've learned, you can unlearn things and you can learn new things.
Sure. It's hard, it's harder if it didn't happen when you were a kid, right? A lot of people are trying to.
It would be so much easier if I had, millionaire grandparents or parents, and, there's so many things that are harder, but that is judgment. Yeah, and I think if there's one thing that, being raised the way I was raised in that very kind of Eastern mindset, I never have felt like less. Of course, there was certain times, I will be honest, with my dad with his Navajo bun and his flatbed truck with organic produce. Hey, Dad, I'm going to stretch out over here. My dance class. Daughter, that's right over, you don't want me to pull up front. No, I'm just sore. Because my dad had Guatemalan belt and a Navajo bun. And I was like, this is, and Birkenstocks. And I was 15 and trying to dye my hair blonde. So I did go through that.
Of course.
Because you feel, especially when everybody's blonde and blue eye back in the day. So I had a bit of that, and it doesn't feel good at all. So I luckily, being Indian and Mexican and all that, became pretty cool pretty quick. And I could actually see the value pretty early, into my 20s. But I suffered being little in my, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of those years, coming from an alternative family. So it's, you suffer earlier
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to suffer as much later.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, because I did. I mean, I had
Well,
a
it
lot
sounds
of
like you're
that.
saying you were different.
Yeah.
Not I don't know, but little, right?
No, little meaning like 7, 8, 9 years.
Oh, little in years. Yeah, got
like
it, got
being
it.
a little kid.
Yeah,
and
I see what
you,
you're saying.
You being like my mom's sisters from Texas, they all, lived in like these nice houses and stuff, and we lived on the land.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that
yeah.
is, are you kidding me? That's
Right.
awful for a little kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But there were many amazing moments. I can remember, when my dad he used to be a snake charmer, and he would catch snake, and he got bit one time. And I remember, and I was like 4 years old, and I remember like being a part of that whole journey, like things that would never ever happen in a regular world. And
Sure.
my first animal was a baby goat, and it got killed by a mountain lion. And I was 6, and we had to do a ceremony for it. And I remember just these heavy feelings of, that you would not get to probably go through as a regular 6-year-old. So there were things I remember just they were painful, but really beautiful. But a lot of those years were more of, there was that shame of being totally not normal, and I didn't carry that into my adult years, which was good.
Is that because you kept your uniqueness and just learned to leverage it, or like,
I would definitely say, and then also it started becoming trendy to be ethnic.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then my dad was really cool, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys think my dad is cool? Okay, maybe I'm cool too then.
Organic farming was suddenly cool, right?
It was like it was all of that, but when you're in it and you're little, you're like a little kid.
No doubt.
It can be traumatizing. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
But they say those who suffer, and if you get through it, it actually makes you stronger. And I believe that it did.
Well, I think you've done an amazing job. And I think your clothing continues to obviously we did a shoot earlier.
Yes.
And it just continues to amazing. Like you keep on, the styles continue to evolve, but maintain the same essence from when I first met you, of balancing the casual, you could wear it to the beach, and yet it looks classy and elegant too, but it doesn't feel like too dressy to wear casual. And I'm like, it's just great work.
Thank you.
And so thank you for being you and for keeping at it.
Thank you. Thank you for your great questions. I'm really, really happy to have that reflection.
Are you going to get real with me now?
I'm getting real.
Well, cheers. Let's get real.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to say, yeah. But you brought something. We're going to toast. We'll drink first.
Okay.
So you brought something. This is behind you. Is this like COVID stuff?
Well.
Okay. So for those who aren't watching, in this moment in time, we're in this pandemic thing, and we have been for several months, and some of the retail industries have been hit the most. And of course, how has that affected you?
So we had just won.
Just won an award.
We just won,
which is supposed to be really good for sales, right?
It's we were ready to. We had things going all over the Caribbean. Chris, you don't even know. Everything got charged back.
Yeah.
Everything got charged back. Stop payment. It was everybody shut. So I was just like, it's so interesting because I'm like, okay, I was just checked it in instantly, just got on, canceled all credit cards, just got everything in order to protect myself.
Yeah.
And then people were freaking out all around me. And I just started kind of really leading in the space. Okay, this is what we got to do, everybody. Okay, you follow my lead. My bookkeeper was like, cancel my credit cards. I'm like, cancel your credit cards now. They're going to be okay with it. You cannot have your stuff going in the red. Nobody was believing me. And then sure enough, she does it 2 months later after she's 30,000 in the hole. I'm like, girl. But anyway, so I got very just strategic and in crisis control mode. And that was a good month and a half. And then pretty quickly.
Well, you had to jump into action fast because you were seeing right at the front edge of it when the orders were being canceled.
Yeah.
Shutdowns were happening, and everybody wasn't feeling it yet. But you knew where this was going.
Yeah. Especially growing up the way we did. My dad has always been planning places off the beaten path. We have a big property down in Mexico. We got to talk about this because we want to develop that. He's been totally anti, mainstream for a long time. So I was just like, okay, we got this. And pretty quickly, my friend Sharon Narduzzi said, here, I'm going to send you over some money. You need to start making masks, start this up. So I started, she put in a little bit of capital to get the first runs done. Thank
Amazing.
You, Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon.
And we got that going. And before you knew it. Like, you know, I wasn't like one of those huge mass producers that got in there, but I was definitely helping out, you know, a lot of the properties that still had employees on site.
Yeah.
They needed, but you know, so I would do the branded mass, and then Scott with a bunch of his companies that needed things for people that were still coming in. So I started doing that, and it was amazing to see that I could actually have a business there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did those, and then I started getting a little bit creative, and because you know you have to wear them everywhere you go, and it's like, oh, let's start working with all like your tie-dye fabrics. And do you want me to show you the one?
Yeah, do it, show me.
So this was I was on Lindsay Brooks and Forbes Riley, they're Instapreneur, and they wanted me to create something, and it came from my infinity scarf. So I actually already had inventory, which was kind of cool. And I just kind of innovated. So here you have like just a cute little scarf.
Yeah.
Right. And then
until you need a mask.
You go here.
Whoa.
And you go here.
Oh,
Okay.
you revealed the clips.
Okay. So there you go. And then you want it to be like a little bit cuter. So there you go, right?
Oh my gosh.
Here you are.
Look
And
at
then now you want it to be a hoodie.
What? That's crazy.
So then you're here, and then here. Okay, I'll pay. But then you look cool doing it, and then actually you're at the grocery store and you don't want anybody to see you because you're just like, I'm just not in a good mood. Just like, you know, leave me alone.
That's awesome.
Right? So
Yeah.
this won an award, which was really cool. And yeah, so I started, you know, working with these, and then I do like the gaiters, and you just have fun with whatever's going on. I mean, that's what fashion is. I mean, this is, I mean, I can't believe how much people love this, you know, it's such a basic thing, but it got a lot of love, you know.
That's
so,
huge. I like it. That's great.
so
That's
this
very
is-
creative in terms of the way you wear it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways. And then also you take it off and it can be a sarong.
Yeah.
It can be a sarong, which is a really fun way to wear it. So just stepping up to the plate and trying to provide style value.
Yeah.
And did that, and then now Google just said lounge, comfortable, eco, made in USA is the most famous way to sell fashion now, because nobody wants anything from anywhere other than the USA, and they want cozy, and they want to start figuring out how to be just more comfortable in their space. So Scott,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he sent me this crazy.
Glad to hear
article.
China's going out of style.
Yeah,
Huh?
you know what I'm saying?
It's about time.
It's no longer.
It's about time.
Exactly. So that's what we're doing now is like just, I'm still doing the mask, but now I want to bring the fashion back in. And tops are really popular because people are doing Zoom and they want to have cute tops. I'm like, we have cute tops.
So I heard a rumor that this, like, you know, from a personal standpoint, because this is the get real part, that you manage this just fine because you're an introvert. So like this COVID, the shutdowns, like it's just, it sounds brilliant what you did. But I'm not hearing like, I mean, everybody else was like shivering in a corner.
Not even.
Sita, don't shiver.
Well, the thing is, after you've lived in India, you've lived in Mexico. India.
Yeah, if you could do Bombay, I guess
you could do Bombay. Like I literally, and also being raised by the kind of parents, like it's almost like I've been waiting for this. In many ways, just looking at everything, looking at the mass manipulation through marketing, people not being centered in their soul, listening to another God that has nothing to do with cosmic energy, like, whoa, meaning money being the God, meaning lack of values, meaning, so, you know, so it's kind of like the world just snapping with all of these different ideologies that are not of a higher frequency. And I you know, there's planning, there's manipulation, there's all of that, but at the end of the day, it's all of humanity in it together. So I think it's really a time that you get to pick and choose exactly where you want to be and really thrive there. I picked absolute comfort inside of my mind, body, and soul inside of my home. And I said, I'm going to totally make my place into my front room's a spa. Got an infrared sauna.
Yes.
We started a group, International United Sister Society, where we are not going to let anything affect our inner growth, our spirit, our physical body. We do HIIT 3 times a week. Religious. It's been over 4 months. None of us have missed one class. There's 300 women in there. There's like a consistent like 6 to 20 on each call. Everybody does replays. They're all powerful. There's Olympians, Iron Women, entrepreneurs, media people. There's moms, there's students. You know, it's your only thing that you have to be is just committed to growth and non-judgment, and you can be a part of the group. And nobody charges for classes, but they are the best teachers in the world. We have art on Friday.
Yeah.
I like Andrea has brought out the Picasso in all of us. She's an amazing art teacher. 6-dimensional energy unplugging work with Emily.
Okay.
So that's how I did it.
All right. So let me press a button or two. This is just rainbows followed by some butterflies. I mean, it's perfect.
You're so
It's
funny.
no, it's perfect. In fact, I needed more drink. I mean, look, I think the real juice is what you tapped into there. Tell me about the lack of values. Tell me about the propaganda. Tell me about the things that you're seeing that are the not high vibe, high energy, other godly things that are going on right now.
So we never had a TV when I was growing up. So this is always did make me feel a little bit different, because where people or little kids are going to like get so excited around Christmas about all of these presents and everything they see on TV, and then they don't get it and they turn into ornery. I mean, this starts really, really young. Okay. So I have been seeing this since I was little. Of course, I wanted to be a little kid that, you know, had a TV and this and that, but then not having it, being deprived of that, gave me a different insight.
Sure.
And always honoring something of a higher frequency. When I say higher, it's like learning how to plant and watch that plant grow, learning how to create something, learning, being around people, focusing on an art, like things. Those were always the things that were really in high value. And the people, that's why I have such amazing people that, you know, that I know, such as yourself as well, that are just so engrossed with what I just say, like the finer things in life, which are true talent, you know, true grit, true love of people. And I feel like when
that's the stuff nobody can take away from you.
Right. And if you have been raised just believing all these billboards and these TV commercials, then you don't have that ability of discernment to know what is, everything just sort of morphs together because you haven't planted, you've never developed a skill, you just watched TV like all your life. You know, you've had parents that were just totally unplugged from your life. And there's a huge chunk of the world who has been like this. Yeah. Okay. So as you start to see everything that's going on, you can see that loud and clear. You can see the people those are the people who are flipping out right now because they're believing everything on the tube. They do not have a sense of the earth, of people,
fascinating,
of an art form. Okay. So that's where I'm coming from there.
So you remind me of a saying. Somebody asked me, I'm sure you have friends that ask you, have you ever watched this movie? Or do you watch this show? And I know what your answer would be, probably. But my instinctive answer, and this was years ago, and I just didn't realize how much, there's certain statements that sort of are you, and you know they're you when they come out. And when they asked me if I watched this show as a sport or something, and I said to them, I don't watch the things that people make. I make the things that people watch. And it's just a thing about being a participant in life and not a spectator. And there's just so much spectacular spectating going on.
Exactly.
And it feels like it's been gamified now, and it's become a drug. It's become an addictive drug.
Okay, but that's not there. So I would say incredibly head on with that. And what I'm also learning in this process is non-judgment of that. Absolute compassion for the fear that they're feeling, having not the same background, the same understanding.
Sure, right. Yeah, you don't just snap a finger and the next day you know what to do and you're just going to go out and sew some clothes, right? You're not going to do that.
When you have a platform and you have the ability to inspire, because with inspiration and love is where shift happens. Yeah. So you have the ability to do that. You take that and you understand, and you don't judge any of the other stuff. You actually provide a platform, you provide and you share. And that human spirit wants that more than anything because they're scared and they don't know. And so in our society, that is what we created, because believe me, none of the people, in this we all come from different backgrounds, and there was a lot of fear. There was a lot, and we're like, it don't matter. We're showing up every day. We are shifting the mindset. We are creating this space, and we are going to commit to this. And this is the only thing that matters, is our growth and our soul right now. We're not going to control all this stuff, but we're going to control ourselves. And by doing that, it's like amazing. It's amazing. Shift happens. It does.
I thought shit happens.
No, but shift. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's actually shift. My friend Taryn, she has this whole thing.
I just dropped the F.
Yeah, it is so, but it's shift, which is shit happens for sure, but shift. And the thing is, it's not that hard, because I truly believe that's the home space of the soul.
Yeah.
That's where people want to be. So I'm working with like my sisters in this society. We are consciously about doing this. Before, we were doing it just like for ourselves. And now we're like, wow, like we're working with different women who are having a lot of issues, and then all of a sudden they plug into their soul, even if they've never done it before. And it's like instantly. And all of a sudden, that's the only thing that matters. Yeah. It's pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty cool. It reminds me a bit of taking people out of the billable hour environment in the professional services world.
Sure.
Because they never saw their value their entire life. They were just counting time, and they were cogs in a wheel, selling something nobody wants to buy. Increments of time.
The death of Ivan Illich.
You got it. Yeah. And then you open their eyes and show them what value is, and how to see themselves.
That's right.
And how to see how customers see them. And suddenly they're doing the same thing, but they feel their worth in the world. And it's transformative. It's fucking transformative.
It's amazing.
And it's
Do you see how amazing. This time could actually be something beautiful when you look at it like that? Yeah. Because there are so many people waking up, and it's happening through the fear, and it's happening through the complete.
But it takes a lot of courage. Especially anybody who's been in the, people who've gone their whole life and don't know their true talent or their skills, or don't know their value. Yeah. To have to leave the safety net of the mechanical that is at least done enough to get them to survive.
Chris, how is somebody born courageous?
I think they are.
No, they're not. They
come on.
They become courageous because they have to be.
Oh, no, really? I don't know.
They're not. You're not born courageous. But you could say that you have like these.
Well, my little baby, like she'll just keep,
you usually become courageous because you have to be that in order to get through. Like you, of course, but she's having to be courageous if she wants to learn how to walk, right? Like
that's right. But she's also stubborn.
She is, yeah.
Which is going to teach her some things in a good way, but she'll get hit. She doesn't learn. She'll do it again, which means she's going to do great things in life.
Yeah.
And, because everybody that I know that succeeded has scars and bumps and has got concussions and kept on. It didn't stop them.
And I feel like that's right now. Yeah. I feel like people who step into the courageous part of themselves, if they get an invitation. Yeah. And that's why I feel like it's so important for shows like this. Yeah. That's why when you ask me to come up, I'm like, oh yeah. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but if you're providing platforms for people to learn and grow and connect and understand that there's another way, and it starts with yourself and your soul connection to source and to tap into that. And like, what are they talking about? At least it plants a seed, and they can go deeper. And it's everywhere. It is everywhere.
I do think it's a movement right now. I mean, I think there's awakening happening, right?
It's incredible because that's all there is. And I think that's what you really realize, regardless of what side of the street that you walk on, everybody knows this because we're all human and we all have a spirit inside of us, and our spirit, all of our spirits, we resonate with that energy because we're all a part of it.
Sita, before we wrap it, I feel like there's people who try to lead by example, and so they're attuned to trying to be leaders. But when I think about what you are and how you present, I feel like you just do you. I don't think you think of yourself that way.
Yeah.
Like I just think you're just. Like from dance, where center is, and if you know where center is and North Star, you're good. And then it just creates peace for those around you. and it makes you a good leader.
Thank you.
It's just my observation.
That is really cool. Gosh, you make me feel so good about myself. Thank you.
No, I'm just,
No,
look, I could have said there's
seriously.
people, I'm just saying,
It's so cool.
I'm calling it like I see it.
It really makes me feel good because I've kind of, during this whole time, I've felt so dropped into purpose,
Yeah.
and I've felt so at service. And, one of my teachers, Tony Childs, teaches about the magic of gratitude, and the third step of gratitude, the highest step is service, because it's when you give, and
That's right.
It fills your soul with so much when you're able to do that. And it's like, I feel like I get to give so much right now. And it's so
Well,
cool.
and Khalil Gibran's the prophet. He says, you give of little when you give of your money. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give.
That's just, I love Khalil Gibran.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite book ever. Yes.
And that's a never-ending gift.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So for all of your listeners, any women, there are guys who come to our HIT and our Kundalini class, but you can totally put that in your feed, International United Sister Society, IUSS. Is a private Facebook group, and it's really been really, really special for everybody a part. And we do like seminars. We're doing dazzle dry nail polish, eco nail polish, because it's actually nail polish that smells like lemongrass, and it's good for your nails. And all the winners of the Creativity and Compassion contest got all of this stuff. So we're having a virtual thing with the most celebrated nail artist, Silva. And we're doing fun things like that. We're having a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good. We got you know what? It's great. You're remembering to have fun in the middle of a global pandemic.
Oh, we have so
Holy
much
crap.
fun.
Holy crap.
Holy
Good
crap.
for you. Well, Sita, just thank you for being an inspiration in a time where like a lot of people are, like I said, shivering in a corner, or they're scared and they don't know what to do. People need to hear more about others that are just focused on purpose and the future and goodness. And that's what makes you great. You're an exemplary woman.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming on. Well, I love you.
I love you too.
And everybody, this is CEOs Get Real. We got real tonight. I'm Christopher Marston, and this is Sita Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Thanks so much.